See if
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Got your car working?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Every day. Yeah, Alex up every day, every night.
What happened to it tonight? What happened?
Man, I forgot, to be totally honest with you. It definitely slipped my mind because I'm down at my parents' house, seeing my parents for this weekend, and Alex texted me. I mean, he texted me about the call, and I don't know why it slipped my mind thinking it was a phone call instead of a video call. So now I'm over here scrambling to download the app and everything, but at least that.
Oh, it's all good. No worries, man.
Yeah. So it says it's recording now. Hopefully I'll be able to get the PDF or whatever link that it does. It said it was an MP4 format. But yeah, let me pull up my notes here. Definitely had some interesting topics last time that I wanted to talk about. Alrighty.
Hold on 1 second, man. All right, I'm back.
All right, so once again, thank you for coming on. Mo and myself, we're actually running an investment team called Mill Ticket Investment Group. Just a startup company. Eventually, we're thinking about possibly turning it into a consulting group, a consulting firm, or we're not sure yet. We're still in the pre-stages of everything, but we know we want to get something started now. So far, we've actually started a GroupMe. And in that GroupMe, we have everything from audio engineers, professional dancers, rappers. I have the number one HBCU DJ, the number one music news feed. So we're just basically networking and providing a platform for everybody to network and build better connections to people, more professional connections to support Black businesses. And then when we tell them, what we tell them is that we want to have the medium so that they can connect, but then we want to bring Karatbars into the equation. So now that we can help finance some of their endeavors. I tell people we're expecting the millions to come. We know it's going to come. We're aiming for this year to even make our first couple million. So what I was telling people is I want to, once I start doing that, yeah, of course I'm going to buy the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton, and whatever what have you, but I want to make 85% of my attire or whatever I'm doing, I want to make sure that it is Black owned. Black business started. My hats, we have somebody doing hats, we have somebody doing sunglasses, clothes. We want to make sure that we support one another because no one else is going to do that stuff. And then I want to have the 15% of my clothing be, of course, the Gucci, Prada, Burberry, all that kind of stuff. But so yes, that's where we're at as far as who we are and our mission to support everybody. And back to your video, you gave some key points. One of them was leveraging time and money. And then the question of whether or not your family is worth $65 a week or a month. And the responses that we've been getting is like, wow, I never thought of it that way. So I'm going to leave the floor open to you to discuss that, like your points on that and anything you have to say on that matter.
Yeah, let me just first say congratulations on what you are creating. You know, I think that's awesome, especially for young brothers like yourselves to be able to come together and think about something like that, man, to bring people together, because that's what it really is all about, man. And one thing I come to learn about this thing in life, man, it really is about relationships and connections, you know, and for y'all to be so young, you know, having that vision and that dream, that's awesome. So just make sure you include me in your GroupMe and everything, man. Because honestly, when I run across young people, I want y'all to speak to them. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to be that voice. I want y'all to be that voice. But going back to your question about as far as how do you value your family, it just hit me one day. It actually came from one time I heard this one guy say, he was a young entrepreneur in the business. His name's Alex and Maurice. You can look him up. Mm-hmm. But one day he said, he was talking about your job and how much they value you. You know what I'm saying? So if you're working a job and they're paying you $30,000 a year, that's all you're worth to them. You know, and he said you should never allow somebody tell you what your value is. You know, so that right there, that hit me really hard. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, man, you're right. You should never let nobody tell you what your value is, because we understand that all of us are priceless. There is no value. There is no monetary value that you could put on none of us. You know what I'm saying? And then I started thinking about the family, and when it comes to saving gold, and it just dawned on me, because people are sometimes struggling with this $65. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's $65. I'm like, is your family not worth $65?
Right.
And you know, you're right. When you put that to people, that makes them think. Because I even did a video today, and I mentioned it again today. You get to determine how valuable your family is when it comes to exchanging paper for gold. If you think your family is only worth $50, then you're only going to put $50 away. If you think your family is worth 65, you'll put 65. If you think your family is worth 100, you'll put 100. You know, we have to get in the mindset that our economy is the most important economy on the planet. You know, so if we're going to invest in anybody's economy first and foremost, it needs to be ours. And we need to be willing to put, and I don't know, no less than, to me, I'm thinking no less than $100 a month for my own family.
Right.
I have to be willing to put $100 into my own family before I put $100 into somebody else's family. Before I put it in the Visa, MasterCard, Michael Kors, Jordan, Gucci, Louis, all of them cats. You know what I'm saying? I have to be willing to know that my family is worth at least $100 a month, you know, before anybody else. And that's the wealth building principle that we base our whole Karatbars Foundation on. That is learning the principle and the law of paying yourself first. You know, every time, whenever I get a chance to talk to young people, the first thing I always tell them, I said, look, you need to learn this, especially our young people.
Right.
I said, you have to learn this principle. I said, if you never see my face again, or if you don't get involved with the business or whatever, learn this one principle and begin to pay yourself first at least 10%.
I was at a gold party yesterday. I'm not sure if you know what a gold party is.
Again, it's just where y'all come together and
talk
about gold, right?
Yep, yes, sir. So one of our mentors was actually hosting it, and the crowd was basically over the age of 40 years old, and they were just looking at me. They're like, "You have to learn how to pay yourself." Like, one of the ladies is Miss Shelby. She was talking about how when she was young, she got her first job, work permit at 8 months, and she was like, my father told me to pay myself. So I thought that meant going out and buying clothes, buying accessories to all that to pay myself, like buying gifts for myself. But then she was like, I finally realized that paying myself first is investing in myself rather than investing in material. That's not investing in material. That's not an asset. That's a liability. So she was like, make sure that you have liability, or make sure you have assets before you have liability. So that really hit home with me. So I was like, everybody's thinking about Jordans. Everybody's thinking about, which you're wasting $200.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mo and myself, we know we've literally placed ourselves, our future selves before our present selves. And when I say that, I mean, before we go out and buy stuff, we make sure that if you can't put that same amount into gold to save money for yourself, you can't do it.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There you go.
And it's crazy because we have, the best product, in the world,
Mm-hmm.
This company basically definitely does teach us to change our entire financial mindset. You
Right.
know, get our paycheck working. One of the things about, you gotta pay our bills. Everybody has to first pay their bills, but after you pay the bills, one of the first things about doing is, okay, how much money I got left? Can I go do this? Can I go do that? It's don't we don't save. We don't save that money at first. But when you get into this company and you realize that money that you can put away within this company as a business, not just cause an expense on your business, but causes you really change your whole financial mindset to think about more about saving and saving. That's one of the phenomenal things that I love about, what we're doing right now and what this movement is.
Most definitely. And people don't realize paying yourself first is actually it's a universal law that when you begin to pay yourself first, you turn something on. You turn on a law or a principle, and a law, what is a law? A law is an established principle that will work for anybody that gets involved. So that means it works all the time. So when you begin to get in the habit of paying yourself first, you turn on a law that says, okay, this person understands this particular law, so he gets the fruit of this law. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't get that. They think, okay, let me pay all my bills first, and then like you said, let me try to save what's left over. And that's never going to happen. You ain't never going to save what's left over, ever. Who does that? Nobody. You might put it in the savings account for a second. I like how Mr. Delco says it. He said people put it in a put and take account. They put it in, and then they take it right back out. So they're not really saving no money. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they have nothing left. So they go back in and take what they put in their savings. So once you begin to understand that these are principles that we're dealing with, these are established principles, they work for everybody. And then it begins to just flow. And it might take a while. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on how much garbage a person has in their mindset. It depends on how kinged up their pipe is. But eventually, that mode of you paying yourself consistently is going to break that pipe open. And then the floodgates are going to be open, and it's going to just begin to flow.
Right.
And that's
it brings like that really connected to another point that I wrote down from what you said, is that we work for something we don't understand, which is money. But Karatbars is a way to understand money and death. So that really hit home, because it's like we think, I was actually telling somebody today, I was like, you think you're saving money, but you're not saving wealth. You get paper, you put it into an account, you save it on top of paper. You don't know, at the end of the day, that number you see in that account isn't in your bank account. It's just a number, and all it can do, all someone has to do is press the backspace button a few times and then press enter, and your whole money's gone. However, when we're dealing with Karatbars, you ask a whole lot more questions. Well, what can I do with gold? Well, what can I do with this? How do I save more of it? How do I do this? You're educating yourself. But when you're dealing with paper currency, you don't ask those kind of questions. Nobody's worried about tax laws or taxes and stuff like that. They think of, I'll just do a legal zone, move on by. They don't think about that. So I told her, I say, look, you're really just saving paper. You're not saving wealth. Like, get in Karatbars for yourself. Don't think of it as just to make more money. Think of it as to save and keep your own money.
Mm-hmm. You have to remember, we are so conditioned in a system. First of all, our entire monetary system is a debt-based system. So we are born in a system of debt. So that's all we're trained to know is debt. So getting somebody to understand the principle of saving their money, if that isn't in your legacy plan, like if your dad ain't teaching you, your mom ain't teaching you,
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden somebody comes up to you, you're 25, 26, 27 years old, 30 years old, and all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and tells you need to start saving your money. We hear it, you need to save, you need to save, you need to save. But
in one ear, out the other.
One ear and out the other. You know what I'm saying? Because I hate to say this, but in our community, most of us think we ain't going to make it to the very end. So why save? You know what I'm saying? And that's a selfish way to think about it too, because, okay, you might not make it, but what about the generation after you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Be a good steward and pass it down to the next generation. But I think a lot of times we don't do that as well, as because we are selfish and we only really think about ourselves. And that's something we have to begin to change. And that's why I love what we do, because we really do begin to change our mindsets to a totally different way of living, you know, a totally different way of thinking. You know, I love this profession, man. I love the profession for the simple fact that people find out who they truly are, if they didn't know who they were before they got in this business. You know, you'll see so many people who can't come in this type of business scared, timid, insecure, and they come out like lions. They find their voice, they find their purpose, they find their call. And it starts with this mindset change. And even the mindset change with saving. You know, it's just something we have to just keep speaking, because people are so conditioned to just spend, because currency is just like that word currency. Currency has to keep moving. It has to keep moving from one hand to the next, because if it just stays, it dies.
Right.
Like a river. If a river stops moving and becomes stagnant, it dies. You know what I'm saying? So this stuff that we're trained to have, we're meant to spend it. We're trained to spend it. We're in a conditioned system to spend money. And that's all we do. We just spend money. We spend money. Jordans, Michael Kors, whatever it may be, we just spend. But when you got a young cat coming up to you talking about you need to save your money, they're like, save. You know, it's a whole new phenomenon for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a whole new phenomenon.
I actually have another friend that I like you to meet. So,
okay.
His name is Justin Smith. He's another guy on our team.
How you doing, sir? How you doing today? I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
That's great.
So
fantastic.
This is Mr. Duane Taylor.
Mo?
Yeah, that's Mo.
What's up, Mo? How you doing?
So this is Mr. Duane Taylor, a guy who's been doing phenomenal videos on YouTube. And the reason why we completely changed up the way that we approach people, and he was the one that actually spoke about the exchange and how when you exchange $1 for 4 quarters, you don't buy 4 quarters. You exchange paper currency for metal back, and that's all that we do at Karatbars is we exchange our depreciating paper currency for gold, something that's going to make us more money. So
that's definitely one of the main points that hit hard when I watched the thing and I heard. That was definitely one of the main points you said that like hit me the most was the exchange factor. So that's definitely a good a driving point to use when talking to people. Definitely, but yeah, I definitely liked all the things I heard when I watched it and stuff like that. So it was definitely insightful, definitely. But yeah.
Another thing, right before, what you were saying, you were talking about how the currency needs to keep moving. And I think that's generational thought, because when you go back to Black Wall Street, and even before when we were just sharecroppers, some of us were sharecroppers, our ancestors were sharecroppers. They basically they put money into black banks and invested the money, and we were booming. Everything was going great. We were making money. We were profiting. People were having airplanes and stuff like that, and banks and stuff. And then out of nowhere, overnight, literally what the bank did was just siphon the money away, took the money from our accounts. And so that really forced people to either do one of two things: distrust the bank and put it into under the mattress, what a lot of people do, or spend it and say, well, now I have something that's a material thing. And these shoes are worth $220. So now I physically have $220 in my possession. But it's like people don't understand that things depreciate. Like we've always had the mentality of making sure that we have material things that have value to them, which is where gold comes in. But we just got lost in the ways, and now we're thinking that materialistic things other than gold are going to appreciate, or precious metals are going to appreciate.
Well, I think it comes back to how when you look at our history and our culture and where we come from, and then you saw the people who had the money, they had the influence, they had the things. Well, for us, we took it as, okay, if you have material possessions, that means you're somebody.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So our way of thinking was, okay, when I get my money in my hands, what am I going to do? I'm going to put it in my mouth. I'm going to put it in my ears. I'm going to put it on my wrists. I'm going to put it on my feet. I'm going to put it on the shoes on my car. Why? Because we saw that if you have material possessions, that means you've made it. That's why we're willing to have a Mercedes-Benz living in the projects. You know what I'm saying? You willing to pay an $800 car note for a $500 rent payment. You see what I'm saying? So in our mindset, we've been programmed to think materials means success. So when you're talking about our people saving, man, it's a foreign concept. You know, it's some of us get it. You know what I'm saying? You got the old grandmas, they got, the money under the mattress. You know what I'm saying? Saving for a rainy day. But we know now that that's not good either, because that money sitting on the mattress is dying every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we just have to keep re-educating people that gold is money. It's not just jewelry. It's not just something you put in your teeth. It's not just something you wear around your neck. It's not just something you put on your wrist. But gold is money. And what makes money money is it always has value. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has true value because there's a cost to taking it out the ground. It's going to be equal or more to the cost of what it takes to get out of the ground. So people don't understand that, though. They don't understand value. And to get people to understand value is, in 1950, if I had $1,050, right, and I had 30 ounces of gold, I could walk on the Ford dealership and get a brand new F-150 for both of those. $1,050 cash and 30 ounces of gold. Well, today, I could go onto a Ford dealership today with that 30 ounces and still buy a brand new F-150. But I can't do that with the 1,050. If I put that in a time capsule and opened it up today on April 9th, 2017, and I did that back in 71 or whatever it was, or 1950, I could still take that gold out today, go cash it in, get the cash, and I could go buy a brand new F-150.
Right.
And that's value. That's value. That's maintaining your worth. That's what makes money money. How can you tell me, I ain't got a piece of paper here, but how can you tell me if you take a piece of paper, right, and you rip that piece of paper in half and you write $1 on one side and $5 on the other side, how can you tell me one side of that paper is $1 and the other side is worth $5? It's the same sheet of paper. How that means the only reason it has value is because that's what they tell us it is.
Right.
But it has no true value. How can you tell me the same piece of paper, one's worth $100 and one's worth $1? It's the same sheet of paper.
That's true.
That's impossible. But because they tell us this piece of paper is worth $100 and this piece of paper is worth $1, but it comes from the same tree.
Right.
That's a good point.
So that goes into another point. Oh, go ahead, Mo.
About to say, that's what I was talking to my friend about too, because like within what we're doing, at the very minimal, if we was in this company for a amount of time, and we was just end up just investing, saving our money in the gold months and years, and we didn't earn a single dollar in the referral business. When the gold appreciates over time, we can still end up profiting just from buying the gold, just from buying the gold itself. And that's the crazy thing about this company. Like, you don't even have to have a business to be able to profit in the future. So the business is just an add-on to what you can already be doing with just the gold itself.
That's right. That's why we say everybody wins in Karatbars, whether you get a package or not. As long as you saving gold or exchanging paper for gold, you win.
Right.
You winning.
They win.
Man, when I really think about Karatbars, man, and the system, like, dude, where in the world the more money you save and keep, the more money you make? You got to think, the more gold that is exchanged, the more paper for gold that is exchanged in our system generates more paper and more gold. Come on, man. My bad. Go ahead, Alex. I get crumbs. Go ahead, brother.
You had you said the quote probably of the century. You said people are working to make a living, and what we do is we show how to work to make a life.
Right.
So what I got from that is we work or go to school all our life, or not all our life, but the first from pre-K to college, and then you pay all this money to go to school and get an education for a piece of paper that is not going to be relevant to the job that you get after college. And then you go to that job, and then you find out, oh, I can learn more on the job than I did from school. So then you go back into school to pay double the amount. If you'd like to get a master's, you pay double the amount for half the time to get another degree for that job, to earn most likely anywhere between $100,000 to $250,000 after a master's. That's living. However, you're only living in the moment. You're not living in the future, because your retirement's still not going to be set. And even if you try to set it with paper, you're setting it with paper. That's going to lose its value. And what we do is we show you how to physically have a living in the now and in the future, because they pay both in paper and gold.
Right.
So that really hit home to me, because it's crazy to think that we're so institutionalized and locked up in the mind to think, go to school, get a job, work 40 years to hopefully be able to sustain another 20 years after working. But doing Karatbars is a scam, a pyramid scheme. Wow. I get paid to tell somebody to believe in themselves and invest in themselves. I'm doing a service for the company, so I'm getting paid. I told one girl, I said, Karatbars is not a scam on all parts, and I can prove it. I said, you talk about, I was like, what is Karatbars a scam on? Is the money? I said, you can go on reviews all day. You would never see not one review saying I didn't get my money. So it's not a scam there. I said, if it's a pyramid scheme, I said, you realize a legal pyramid is good. I said, you work, right? She's like, yeah. I said, you have less managers than coworkers, right? She's like, yeah, why would I have more managers than coworkers? That wouldn't make sense. I said, okay, so this is the base. The coworkers is the base, and then you have a few less managers. And I said, they have less district managers, they have less regional managers, and they have all the way up, less, and less, all the way to one person. I said, doesn't that form a certain shape? She said, what do you mean? I said, co-workers, bottom, going all the way up to one person, and at that top, that's a pyramid. So I said, so Karatbars isn't a scam because one or two, legal pyramids are a good thing. You're already working in one, so if anything, you're in a scam. So I said, from information, you just got a notification. We have 10 more minutes. Of course, we're on the free account, but
okay, no worries.
That's fine. We can always continue these talks any other time, but I was like, so what else is a scam on? You don't ever see anybody getting shorted of gold. You don't ever see anybody get short of anything. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not a scam. So it's like, what's the problem? You get paid for a service. So I'm confused on whatever anybody else could think.
Well, you got to realize this industry, the reason so many people think it's a scam is because of the whole thing where, there have been illegal companies to come out, right, and do illegal pyramids. But they lump us in with that. So they think anytime you got to help somebody get paid, then they automatically thinking it's a scam. But here's what they don't understand. I on Tuesday nights I used to do this one training session on Facebook, and it was trying to get people to understand compounding and leverage. Mm-hmm. When people understand, it's like you're going to be leveraged regardless. Like the young lady you was talking to, she's going to be leveraged, right? Mm-hmm. So how I try to explain it to people is like, okay, if you're going to be leveraged, if somebody's going to leverage your time, if somebody's going to leverage your effort, okay, do you want to be leveraged and get paid linearly, mm-hmm. or do you want to be leveraged and get paid residually? Which one? Because you're going to get leveraged. Somebody's going to leverage you somewhere. So if you're going to be leveraged, right, why not be leveraged and have the opportunity to make just as much money as the person above you? Mm. And get paid residually instead of getting leveraged and getting paid linearly and not be able to make as much money as the person above you. Mm. So if you're going to work and get paid, then let me work and get paid residually.
Right.
But because people don't understand compounding and they don't understand leverage, they think things are a pyramid scheme. But if people could just stop for a second and realize it's the system, people need to wrap their minds around it's the system that makes this thing work. Starbucks is a system. McDonald's is a system. Mm-hmm. All these companies are systems. And if you can just stop and realize it's a system that uses compounding and leverage, you can be rich, as rich as you want to be. You can make as much money as you want to make. If people could just stop for a second, but because people think they know so much in today's time, like because they got these little phones and they can just go Google everything, everybody think they a Google lawyer. Everybody think they know everything about everything, and they really don't. And that's one of the problems we facing right now is because people just think they know so much, but they really don't know jack, and you just got to be patient. You just got to realize, once again, we are in a system, and their system says, hey, condition these people to go get a job. Because you got to think, we come from the Industrial Revolution. That was when a time where one man could work for 40 years at a place and take care of his entire family. Well, that's outdated. We're in the 21st century. Right. That doesn't work no more. That's an outdated system. It's hanging on by a thread, but it's an outdated system. Now the system is information. It's hard for people to wrap their minds around what we do because it's an invisible business. It's invisible. You don't see it. Look, you don't get no product. I mean, it gets delivered to you, but I don't have this product on the shelf. I don't have no employees. There's no building. How can I possibly make money by just exchanging my paper for gold? They don't understand how it works. So they think it's a scam because they don't understand systems.
I actually was on the phone or on the Zoom meeting yesterday with Mr. Dalco, and he was like, how does a bank make money? He said, all you do is come in and put your money into a bank. You exchange your paper currency for an electronic number. So how does a bank make their money? He was like, the bank basically gets paid $9 for every dollar that you put in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't that a scam? Yet you still invest into that. I was like, whoa.
That's right. Fractional reserve banking.
Yeah, I didn't
Study up on that. Fractional reserve banking, man. Every time you go in and put a loan in or you make a deposit, the banks get paid. You know what I'm saying? And they take that and then they exchange it for gold, platinum, silver. They exchange it. So these central banks are holding physical gold. Karatbars is nothing but a microcosm of the Federal Reserve System. That's it. Federal Reserve money comes in, they exchange it, and then when they exchange it, they first money comes in, then they convert it. Mm-hmm. When they convert it, they exchange it. When they exchange it, they either build their wealth and then they leverage what? People to come in and bring what? More deposits and get more loans. So it goes like this, right? Mm-hmm. And money keeps coming in, right? Well, look at Karatbars. Okay, you come in, you exchange your paper, right? It converts to gold. You leverage people. More money comes in. What happens? It's a cycle. Bro, when Karatbars takes off, look, you got to understand, dude, this thing is so powerful, man. Like, oh, my God. When it turns on, you got to think. You no longer come out of your pocket to exchange the paper for gold because you take the commissions that you make and exchange for gold. It's like a scuba tank. It's a self-contained money-making machine. Once it gets going, once your commissions come in, you no longer coming out your pocket. Mm-hmm. And money is just making money for you, dude. It's like this. You set that thing up on auto exchange and you increase it more and more and more and more. And it just keeps going. Imagine everybody on your team doing that. It's a no-brainer. You lose absolutely no money in Karatbars. Not even when you get a business package. Because when you get a business package, it's a tax write-off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a tax write-off. You spend absolutely $0 in Karatbars and you can make millions.
So this is a very powerful talk. We're actually coming to the conclusion of the time, but I really feel as though we may be able to do some podcasts if you're up for it. We have some other mentors that speak exactly like you, have different perspectives, and this is just getting to, I think, like having a merger between the young, the middle-aged, and the others. That would be powerful because it's like you really have all three groups: the young, middle, and the older experience and wisdom. So it's like everybody bouncing ideas off of that. So we're definitely going to keep in contact with you.
Most definitely.
We're going to try to set up, hopefully maybe a podcast. Maybe we'll be able to maybe name this and promote this because, like I said, we have the group me growing of young generation people, Blacks starting businesses, thinking about starting businesses. Justin's also in it as well. So we're at 78 people right now. And we're finally starting to tap into the people with 300,000, 400,000 followers on Twitter. So we're going to be able to market this and definitely build a brand. So
send me that info, man. So anybody I run into, man, I'll send them that way as well, man.
Sir, I was also taking notes the entire time, so I'm going to send you those right after. But like I said, my name is Alex. We appreciate this.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Mill Ticket Investment Group along with Mr. Duane Taylor. Phenomenal guy. We're going to make some more videos, as I said before. So everyone, thank you for watching this video.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
All right, man. Good night.
Thanks.